John Deaton, who is the outside attorney that is taking on the SEC on behalf of 66,000 XRP holders, says he expects settlement with the Ripple case. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what he told Eleanor Terrett of Fox Business as to when XRP holders and Ripple fans everywhere could expect a settlement with the SEC. This comes off the backs of news that the SEC was denied by Judge Netburn, that they can't hide the Bill Hinman emails anymore, or at least they're going to have to appeal that decision. We're going to see if they can actually keep it hidden. And so some are speculating that we will never actually get to see those emails because the SEC probably thinks it's time to settle up. Also in this video, I want to talk about what the new Strike app from Jack Mallers, which allows Bitcoin to be paid to many retail stores around the world, or at least it will soon, and what its comparison is to XRP, because there's some social media discussion going around about how some people think that this Strike app is actually putting XRP and its use case out on the street. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what Strike actually does versus what XRP and the on-demand liquidity system actually does, and if in fact Strike could take a big chunk out of XRP's use case. And in some market news, of course, we have the CPI numbers that just came out this morning, and they are not good. Some of the highest inflation rates in 40 years. So I'm going to tell you what those were, how the markets reacted, and what we can expect over the next couple of days. And also a few days ago, I talked in a video about Elon Musk that bought 9.2% of Twitter and how he was actually joining the board of Twitter. Well, it just came out last night that Elon Musk will not be joining the board of Twitter. So I'm going to tell you why he chose not to and how Twitter reacted. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel we are covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind community. Also, if you would do three things, I'd really appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button, watch the video to the end, and check out my Patreon, link in the description below. Alright guys, let's jump into it. So first, Elon Musk decided not to join the board of Twitter, the board of directors. It was offered to him from the CEO of Twitter. However, Elon Musk said he will not be joining the board. Now, some of the speculation is because in order to be on the board of directors at Twitter, you're actually limited as to how much stock of Twitter that you can actually hold at about 14.5%. Well, right now, Elon Musk owns 9.2% of Twitter. And some think that, well, he just didn't want to be hindered by that, and if he wants to buy more than 14.5% of Twitter, and thus have a little more influence than he otherwise would, only holding at 14.5%. So let me know in the comment section below if you think Elon Musk has some different plans in which he did not want to be involved in the board of directors of Twitter, because the CEO of Twitter responded with a letter to the rest of the company basically saying that Elon Musk no longer wants to be on the board, but we respect his input and we're going to move forward as is. And when it's compared with some of the reaction that Twitter employees are having about Elon Musk being the majority owner, well, it's really interesting because there could be some interesting headlines coming up in the near future if Elon Musk decides to buy even more shares of Twitter. And so the CPI numbers that just came out this morning were not good. 8.5% year over year, which is the largest inflationary number that has happened in 40 years. Now, even yesterday, the day previous, the White House was actually warning that this number was going to be astronomical. So that's not good. So how did the markets actually react? Well, they reacted by jumping up. In fact, the Dow, the NASDAQ, Bitcoin, everything jumped up initially, but then spent the rest of the day giving all those gains back, many of them ending up in the red. And so every other time these CPI numbers come out, it seems like there's a pattern. Regardless of how bad the inflationary numbers actually are, it seems like the markets jump and then spend the rest of the day giving those numbers back. Something to keep in mind for next month when they come out. But nonetheless, 8.5% is a horrible, horrible number. And of course, many people don't believe it's 8.5%. Some people believe that it's actually closer to 20%. And they cite things like food being up 30%, cars being up over 70%, and some of the other industries being up anywhere from 20 to 30%. It's pretty ridiculous. Okay, so let's talk about this Strike versus XRP debate, because there's a lot of people on social media, especially on Twitter, wondering if this new Strike app, which allows people to essentially use their Bitcoin to pay for things at stores and have merchants be able to accept payment instantly, have finality, and not pay huge transaction fees like they do with Visa or MasterCard, for example. And how could this essentially put XRP, quote unquote, out of business? Because if Bitcoin can do that, then what's the point of XRP? Well, a few people jumped in and they wanted to clarify some things about what Strike is and isn't, and what XRP and the on-demand liquidity system is and isn't. And personally, I recognize that both of them are actually extremely beneficial for the cryptocurrency world and for moving digital payments ahead in this world. Well, there's some major differences that we need to pay attention to, because like I said, Strike is great for individual adoption, for global adoption in the retail sector. With its new partnerships with NCR, with the Blackhawk Network, and with Shopify, it doesn't do things that banks need cryptocurrencies to do. And so here's why I believe Strike doesn't actually compete with XRP or the on-demand liquidity system, at least in any major shape or form. So let's start with the fact that Strike is actually a centralized app. It's a centralized app, and all the transactions that go through Strike using Bitcoin are hidden. It's not publicly searchable or accessible. People can't just go see which transactions were sent from a wallet to wallet. Meanwhile, the XRP ledger, and XRP, of course, is a decentralized ledger, and all transactions on the XRP ledger are searchable and are publicly available. And one of the biggest things, especially for the use case of XRP, is that Strike's product doesn't eliminate pre-funding. It still needs to be pre-funded, even though it does a swap with fiat, in fact with several different fiats. The XRP and the on-demand liquidity system, well, they essentially eliminate the need for pre-funding accounts in the banking world. It's known as the Nostros and Vostros accounts. It's actually a multi-trillion-dollar problem that Ripple is essentially trying to solve by building out the on-demand liquidity system and using XRP to solve that problem. And right now, it looks like they're doing a fantastic job. Ripple has hundreds of banks using their on-demand liquidity system and transferring literally tens of millions, even billions of dollars instantly, whereas something like the Strike app, that's just not available. That's just not going to be available, partly because of, like I said, it needs to be pre-funded, and which is why Strike seems to be more geared toward the smaller transactions, more of the retail transactions. XRP, the on-demand liquidity system, is more geared for major payments from bank to bank, cross-border payments, and things of that nature. So in my opinion, Strike doesn't really compete with XRP in its use case. It may take a small fraction of its small retail use case, but ultimately, they both are needed and they both need to exist, especially when we look at things like personal finance, small retail transactions, and of course, huge bank-to-bank transfers. In fact, John Deaton actually tweeted out that he thinks this announcement at Bitcoin 2022 that Jack Mallers made really highlights XRP and the XRP ledger's use case, simply the fact that Strike is more geared toward the smaller transactions. Speaking of John Deaton, he has a time frame that he's looking at in terms of everybody's favorite topic when they're talking about the Ripple versus the SEC case, and that, of course, is settlement talks. So with the news that these Bill Hinman emails are going to come out, or at least the court's trying to force them to come out, well, John Deaton says these Hinman emails, they're never going to see the light of day. The SEC will hide them at all costs. They will play the delay game. They will appeal until they can't appeal anymore. But nonetheless, they're still not going to win that, and the emails will have to come out. So John Deaton is saying, listen, they're going to oppose this. They're going to object this. They have 14 days to do so. Then Ripple has 14 days to object to their objections. But he said, listen, once this objection goes through and Judge Torres actually reaffirms Judge Netburn's decision on it, he thinks settlement within 90 days is going to happen. At least that's what he told Eleanor Terrett, as Eleanor Terrett of Fox Business tweeted out what John Deaton said to her. So we've seen these kinds of predictions before, but none had the merits as what they do now because of the huge denial that Judge Netburn just gave the SEC yesterday. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below if you think we're going to see settlement within the next 90 to, let's say, 120 days because of this big decision. So if you want to follow along with this story or with any of the other stories that I cover on this channel, make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind community. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description below. I talk about a lot of these topics on Twitter before I even make videos of it. So if you want to have a conversation with me there, you can do so. Also, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and visit the community tab. I put up polls up there on a weekly basis. I love to get to know what you guys actually think about some of these stories, as well as the cryptocurrency world and the investment market world. So if you go ahead and take part of those polls, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Smash that thumbs up button, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.